Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the premiere of Gift on Fire. I am your host, Deirdre Weston, and I am excited to be here today, and I hope you are too. I'm also excited to be a part of a platform that allows artists to showcase their gifts and talents. The gifts and talents that God has given them, we are excited about that. We're going to see artists that dance, that sing, testimonies where the Holy Spirit has brought them through. You're going to be blessed. So we are excited. So after this commercial break, we want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy our guest that's coming on with our show, Gift on Fire.
Are you ready for an amazing worship experience? Do you need revival in your life? How about a good time with the Holy Spirit? I'd like to tell you about We Are the Voice, which is happening on February 25th, 2023 at Shoreline Park in Long Beach, California from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Tickets start at $25. You can purchase your tickets today at eventbrite.com. We Are the Voice will feature performances by Dove Award nominee Micah Tyler, Grammy Award-winning artist Brent Jones, musical evangelist Richard Andrew, Stephanie Quintanar, and many more. For more information, go to www.hosannabroadcasting.com. We Are the Voice is a time of celebration, unity, and coming together to praise and worship our God, honoring the life and contribution of William Joseph Seymour. There will be arts and crafts, food, and fun for the entire family. Tickets for We Are the Voice went on sale on December 16th on eventbrite.com. For more information on how to purchase tickets, go to hosannabroadcasting.com and click on We Are the Voice.
And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gift on Fire. I am so excited to introduce my first guest. Her name is Carrie Mays. Just a little bit before I let her speak, I was so inspired by her, because a lot of times you think about artists and they just are successful, but you never seem to understand the struggle that they get to the success where they are, or even to maintain the success that they have. And I would just like to thank you for coming on board. We met and you began to tell me your story, and I didn't believe it, but I didn't want to hear so much of it because I wanted to be in real time. Carrie, talk about what you've been through to get to where you are. And by the way, you're absolutely looking gorgeous.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, let me say thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
And I'm able to tell my story.
Yes, it's important because someone out there needs to hear this.
That's right.
And that's the purpose of why we're here today. So I want you to just go for it.
Okay. Well, I grew up in a great home.
Right.
I was blessed to have a mother and two dads that raised me. And one was called Pops and my other was my father.
Right.
And he was a minister, so I'm a PK kid.
Wow.
So I grew up under ministry. That's
Okay.
all I knew back then.
And we would think growing under there, everything's going to be good. So
part.
what was the turning point?
That part.
Wow.
Well, after growing up, and I'll say about the age of 16, curiosity led me to trying drugs and different things like that. And I ended up on crack cocaine at the age of 16.
At the age of 16.
At the age of 16. And I want you to know, once I started using crack, my whole life began.
I mean,
to
because
change.
we're thinking that's the end of the story. Book closed, case closed, everything.
Yeah.
What are the overcoming ramifications of what you've been through? How did you get here? How did you get here?
That part. Okay, here's the story. The process, everyone.
The process, yes, because there is one.
There is a process.
Good or bad.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. Well, curiosity led me to crack cocaine after hanging out with family, some relatives, and different things like that. And I got up to a $5,000 habit a week. Yeah. And even socializing with celebrities that I'm still unable to reveal their names. But the habit grew and it became overwhelming. I got down to 99 pounds. I lost all my hair and it had to grow back again. And, you know, I just want to let you know, underneath all of this, I have beautiful hair, everyone. But I got up to a $5,000 habit a week. And I hit rock bottom.
Yes.
That
And
was my turning point.
And all I can think of right now is God.
Yeah.
You
Nobody
know,
but God.
no,
I hit rock bottom and I got hold to some bad drugs. And I should have known better then because the drugs, for those who don't know, crack, it thrills, it chills, and it kills. Also, crack doesn't continually to smoke. And I can remember being in the dope house this particular time.
Okay.
And the crack cocaine kept smoking. It just kept smoking. And I was still hitting it and, addicted. And, I'm just on a binge. And I've been probably smoking all day. So life had just passed me, time has just passed me by at that moment. And I went home, but I became deathly ill to the point where I lost my sense of smell.
Yeah.
What I would give to smell chicken and perfume again. I could remember saying that. I lost the activities of my limbs. I had to learn how to walk again.
Okay, so for me, it's over. What in the world? How did you climb up out of that? I mean,
well, you know what? And just thinking about it, it's like almost like yesterday. There was a mirror. I'll never forget. You know those mirrors we get like cost about $9. Right. You just lean against the wall.
Right.
And I remember walking past this mirror
and looking at yourself.
And this is a mirror I pass all the time. But this particular time, I didn't recognize who I was. And it was like death staring back at me from the mirror. And I remember saying, oh God, who is that? My rib cage was showing. I was just like 99 pounds, just sticking bones. And I remember crying out and speeding forward when I could barely walk. And I going to the doctors and finding out, and the doctors told me, you have your tissues and your nostrils are completely gone. You lost your sense of smell, and all these things were going on. And I said, God, if you could just help me. Once again, we always go to God when we're in trouble.
Absolutely.
But this particular time, God knew I meant it.
So you wanted to be better. But you didn't know how to come up out of that.
Well, I got tired of being tired.
And
See, when you get tired of being tired.
In that mirror.
Yeah, you're
that
tired.
Mirror, that's significant because we walk down the street, we look at ourselves in the mirror, we want to see our best shape, or we want to see that we look good. And you saw something different in that mirror.
I saw the true me. The true me.
But you didn't like that person either.
Yeah, the sanctimony me. I mean, the young lady that used to direct the choir, leave the church house and go to the dope house. I saw the real me. And I said, God, if you just give me one more chance, I promise that I'll live for you. And I'll tell people there's a better way.
And guess what? You're doing just that.
Doing it I'm doing it today in a big, large way, And I think where it really started escalating for me, and right after God healed me, not knowing I was pregnant. Okay. So I used the first 2 months of my pregnancy with my daughter,
you're
not knowing
really
I was going to have her the next 2.5 months later. So I had my first oldest daughter at 4.5 months.
Okay. So we want to hear a lot more about this because your daughter's here.
Yes. And I look forward to her coming and showing what she does best.
And you also are an artist in what way? What else do you do?
Well, since I think my purpose developed once I told my story. And back then in the 90s, it just wasn't out in the open. Everything was swept under the rug.
Okay.
Everything was behind the scenes. Right. Everything was a big secret.
Right.
But God gave me holy boldness. And the word says you overcome by the word of your testimony. Glory be to God. And I remember going and I stood before the people, the congregation in the church, and I told my story. And right after services were over, many people were coming from the north, the east, the west. Can I talk to you after church? My husband is on it.
Yes.
My wife, I think, is using my mother. And I knew then, this is what I wanted to do the rest of my life, is help people and tell my story. Right. So from there, it led, I became the founder of New Life Outreach Center, located in Inglewood.
Okay.
and a rehabilitation center for men and women. And I started off with one home and I ended up with 5. And thanks to Pastor, or shall I say Dr. Charles, the late Dr. Charles Elalis, which was my pastor back then, he started off and he said, hey, I got this place if you want it, it needs renovating. And that's how the dream began. And God just began to open up doors and give me favor. And I was fortunate to work with a lot of celebrities, Glenn Turman and Kenny Holiday, and a lot of, I want to say, city officials.
Okay,
And
okay.
even received a city official accommodation from the city of Inglewood.
This
of
is
the impact.
fantastic. This is why we're here. And I came up and I didn't have those issues. And I'm thinking if I did, sometimes we wake up and it's hard for us just to get up out of the morning because maybe we had a bad day the day before and we somebody cut us off on the freeway or whatever. And we're angry, but we don't know the struggle that people have really come through. And so I'm more excited to hear the next step about the beautiful life that you brought forth at 4.5 months.
Yeah.
Now,
and let me say this. It wasn't, can I say, it ain't easy.
It
wasn't easy.
But you know what? You hold that because we are excited. If you are excited,
Okay.
if you stay tuned to hear the second half, because we want to hear more about your story and more about the life that was brought forth and what God is still doing in your life.
Come on now.
All right, stay tuned.
HBN has a new attitude. We are changing, growing, and expanding to fit your style. The groove is on. Our program lineup is carefully crafted to meet the whole family's need. It is guaranteed to entertain, empower, edify, strengthen, and build its audience. Our shows are unique, cutting edge, and innovative to soothe your soul. Watch talk shows, cooking shows, fitness, family movies, travel, outdoor, and most of all, anointed ministries such as Rejoice, God's Faithful Disciples, Sid Roth, Manifest, and Joyce Myers. Fix your TV on channel 35.2. Program your Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Download our apps for iOS and Android. Log on to our website. Whatever you have to do, don't miss out on the excitement and be a part of the movement. HBN TV, the voice of Jesus Christ, providing wholesome programming to its community.
And ladies and gentlemen, we are back talking to Carrie. What an interesting and magnificent story she has to tell. This is why we're here. We want to minister to you. We want you to be encouraged. We want you to know that even at your rock bottom, as she calls it, that you always have stairs to climb. And more importantly, Carrie talked about, but God. Yes. So welcome again, Carrie.
Thank you.
I am ready on into my seat trying to hear the development of where you came from and this child that you were pregnant. You said you were pregnant with your child 2 months and you didn't know and you were still taking the drugs?
What? Yeah, that part. I was smoking marijuana and
no idea that you were pregnant.
No,
none. I mean,
I had some kind of clue, as
but
women,
it didn't matter to you because it was more of the joy
hooked.
of doing what.
That's right,
and that's what
I
this
knew
does to you.
she was getting it, and it's amazing because God's grace was on my life, and because I knew when I would smoke it, I could feel the baby fluttering. I even took it as far as taking my baby to the dope house.
Carrie, tell us about that.
Okay.
What?
Let me rewind.
I want to cry, but
when I did find out I was pregnant and I knew she was getting it, I stopped. And I know grace was on my life to allow me to stop. And not knowing the next 2.5 months I was going to have her, I never forget, I was washing the car. And all of a sudden, not having any kind of Lamaze class, not, young, I'm young. I believe I was 18, 19 years old. So I remember, and this is what I said. I ran in the house. I said, Mom, I'm urinating on myself. And she said, no, that water broke. You're about to have the baby. So she called my dad. They got in the car. And I said, well, let me change clothes. She said, no, get in the car. And I promise you, we drove to Kaiser, West LA in Los Angeles. We made it there, I would say 20 minutes, and it's probably a 30-minute drive from our home. And they immediately took me in. And I remember going to my doctor, and he came into the room. I'll never forget this. And well, we're going to have to take the baby. I mean, the baby's going to be born with club feet and 4 fingers. And, we just need to take the baby. The baby's not going to live. And I appreciate doctors. I really do. But at that moment, I needed just a little bit of hope, just a little bit. And I asked the doctor, would he give me just a couple of seconds to let me think about it?
I'm sorry, they were sure that this baby was not going to survive and that's it.
That's right.
4.5 months. I mean, if you think of even today and the technology that they have today, 4.5 months is, it's more doable now, but we're talking years ago.
In the 90s.
90s.
In the 90s. And I remember, and matter of fact, really, we want to say 87, 85. So in the 80s, it just wasn't happening.
So you're looking for hope. You just want that hope.
But I had a praying mother. A mother of the church, honey.
That's right. You were the PK kid.
Come on now. And I said, Mom, I just need a little hope. She said, I understand, baby. He said, well, we're going to get her suited up and IVs and everything. And if we're going to try to keep the baby in. That's what they were trying to do. But I want you to know, Jennifer wanted to come anyway. By the way, her name's Jennifer. And by Friday, she was coming. And I'll never forget, they put me in this room. I guess that's where they put mothers, when they're in pre-labor. Yeah. And I'll never forget, the doors were open. Again, I had no Lamaze class or anything, but I watch enough TV. So I'll never forget, I was in the bed and I was just, when tongue was hanging on, this nurse walked by. She said, what are you doing? I said, she said, oh, I think you're going into labor. You're getting ready to have the baby. So I said, call my mother. Honey, I want you to know.
What?
Mother Mabel was walking through the door. And the nurse was more surprised. She said, how did you know? She said, honey, Lord, the Lord did show me she getting ready to have this baby and feet first. And the nurse went to check me and she said, oh, she's spotting. And she said, it looks like we see the feet coming first. So they said, let's call the doctor. They were calling the doctor over the intercom. And they were saying, Dr. So-and-so, Dr. So-and-so. He was nowhere to be found.
So come
nowhere.
On. So this baby is obviously born.
Well, this is not how the story ends. God gave me a bonus. So when they couldn't locate the doctor, glory be to God.
I know. Take a breath. I It's all right, girl. Give me your hand.
It's all right. Grace, God is so real because he sends his best at that time.
It's okay.
There was a doctor, I'll never forget, a female doctor that walked past the door. She had a big trench coat on, I'll never forget, a London fog jacket. She was sticking her head in the doors. And I'll never forget, the nurse said, oh, Dr. So-and-so, we can use you right now. She said, oh, wow. She said she's about to have the baby. And I'll never forget, when I looked over to my right, she had just enough time to put her arm straight down. They took her coat off. They were suiting her up, putting the scrubs on, and she was washing. And she said, okay, this is what we're getting ready to do. We're getting ready to have this baby girl. And what I want you to do is breathe in, then breathe out. I see the feet, and I'm going to pull the feet. And I'm telling you, God is awesome. He's mighty. So Jennifer is born. And, back then, I guess, when babies are born, you pat the behind. I remember her just thunking her. And you hear this, come out. And I'll never forget, and this honest God's truth, when I did see the baby, because instantly I couldn't see. You know, they instantly started working on her and putting her in
Sure,
an incubator.
sure.
And when they showed me her, they held her like this. And I'll love to show you some pics. But
Yes.
when I saw her, I was like, what is that?
Oh, wow.
Those were my exact words.
Wow.
What is that? And the best way I can describe it back then compared to the pics I'm about to show you, she kind of looked like a little E.T. The movie E.T.,
Yes.
the long stretched neck, all the veins were showing, and she had hair completely over her body like a monkey.
Wow.
And when I asked them about the hair on the body, they said, this is the way a baby looks at this age inside a mother's womb. And the hair is to keep them warm. So, I mean, I'm looking at a complete miracle. And I think pictures tells 1,000
Do you have
words.
some pictures for us really quickly
Okay.
before we go on break?
Alrighty, here we go. Guess I'll start with that one. I don't know if you can see that, but, and believe it or not, this is still not the size of when she was born. So this is a month later. So she was born March 23rd.
And let's see the other one before we go.
This
to
is
commercial.
April 20th.
Turn it.
So as
Put
you
that
can
one.
see,
Show that one. Put that one in front.
okay, sure.
There you go.
So that's her
Amazing.
there. And when they were doing measurements, I'll never forget, they measured her leg like the size of a popsicle stick.
4.5 months.
4.5 months. And she weighed 2 pounds, 2 ounces, and got to a pound the very next day. But still, this is not how the story ends. I want you to know that doctor,
I'm overwhelmed, okay?
the doctor that delivered my baby, she said, if she's ambulanced to another site, because we have to take her to another site, they didn't have the mobilities and the things that they
Right.
needed, I'm with her. It almost as if there was an angel. She said, if she's helicopter lifted, I'll be with her.
This is the doctor that just happened to walk
Just
past. This is-
happens. But here, this is how the story ends. God specializes in miracles and things that seems impossible.
Oh,
You ready for this?
yes.
This doctor didn't even work at that hospital.
What?
She said I was just passing
It just
through.
keeps getting better and better.
I was just passing by. So God sent his best. And you ready for this?
What?
Not only was she passing through, but she was a specialist in breech babies.
And we're going to stop right there because we'll be right back. You better not go anywhere.
From the throne room of God comes the most reality-altering, impacting, entertaining, and empowering TV channel. HBN is anointed and appointed to empower its audience by broadcasting TV shows that are unique, cutting edge, and innovative to soothe your soul. Try it. Your life will never be the same. For program listings, log on to hosannabroadcasting.com. HBN TV, the voice of Jesus Christ.
And welcome back. And Carrie, we just want to talk really quickly about the miracle. Look, we don't have a lot of time, but we got enough time.
Okay.
And just explain to me about the miracle now.
The miracle part about it is when the doctors all gathered together and they were looking at the x-rays. And I remember one doctor doing this scratching. He said, I don't believe it. Can you believe this? Is this really true? And her lungs were completely developed. Normally at that stage in the game, your lungs are not even completely developed.
not at all.
And
Not
I
at
remember
4.5
that,
months, you're
no,
saying?
yes,
Okay,
4.5
gotcha,
months.
gotcha.
And I remember them putting her in the incubator, where she had to stay in the hospital for 5 months. But I was there every day.
Wow.
And they say the more you talk to the baby and rub and hold and caress, the baby will begin to develop even quicker. And when I went to the incubator, I was looking for Jennifer, but they had renamed my baby.
What?
Renamed
Like
it.
what?
And you could see
Did they call her Miracle?
Joy. That's right. Miracle Joy. And I said, I'll let you all have that.
All
So
right.
here's the miracle.
There's just absolutely not enough time. Would you come back again?
I will. I will.
Ladies and
I'd love
gentlemen,
to.
this is our premiere show. Little did we know there was so much in one that God impacted and put in that we have to meet Jennifer. And we want you back. And Carrie, I'd like to say thank you. And we're just so excited about, we get a chance to meet Jennifer?
We have to.
We got to meet Jennifer. We also have another surprise with Jennifer.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
we're not going to tell you that quite yet. So I'd like to say thank you. And I would like to thank you for joining us in the premiere of Gift on Fire. Once again, I hope that you've been encouraged. I hope that that you've learned something and that you can see how God is working in his children and how miracles are just a step away. Thank you, Carrie, and thank you for being a part of Gift on Fire.
Mama's been kidnapped. No one to tuck me in. When Mama was taken hostage, it left me without a friend.
What are you going to do with your gifts and talents, and how are you going to share that with the world?
Oh, something of it